Welcome back to the channel, guys, and welcome to windy, very windy Morecambe Bay for today's video. Shooting local today. I just fancied it, I fancied a bit of coastal photography as well. It sure has been a while. Today, a little bit of a theme in this video. I want to talk about three approaches or precautions actually that you can take as a photographer, in my case a landscape photographer, to improve the quality or the image quality of your photographs and make sure that they're nice and sharp. So let's get into it. So you can see here today, guys, I have treated you to the most stunning of landscapes. We've got the Heysham power stations here to my right hand side. Doesn't get better than that. We've got some gorgeous iron fences here. I mean, this is top draw compared to where I'm taking you in the Lake District National Park. Stunning. Now, in all seriousness, I've wanted to come here for ages with my camera and take some really long exposures and do some fine art landscape photography, and that's exactly what I'm doing with this first shot. Now, before I get into composition or anything, I want to talk you through my first approach to try and guarantee that I get really beautiful image quality, and I'd probably say this is the most important. Maybe they're all very equally important. This one's all about focus, how I focus and where I focus. Now with regards to where I focus, let's just get this one out of the way to start with, because I think focal points in landscape photography can be overcomplicated a little bit. Generally speaking, I've got two rules. Either I'll focus on the most prominent subject in my frame, or I will focus about 1/3 of the way into the image and just close up my aperture a little bit to around f11. And it's always worked for me, and I'd like to think that my images are testament to that approach, because I've never had any focus issues. Now, secondly, how to focus. Now, if you watch this channel regularly, you'll know exactly how I focus using the live view, but I've changed my approach ever so slightly recently, so I want to share it again with you guys. If you've never seen this, I'd urge you to give it a try. It guarantees me like pin sharp photographs every single time, as long as I've got time to do this, as long as I'm not reacting to the light or a beautiful scene. So what I do is simply I use my live view, I use the LCD screen on the back of my camera, and I magnify right in on the area that I want to photograph. And then, now what I do is I use back button focus, so I then use the autofocus feature on my camera to focus whilst using the live view. And because I'm so magnified in, I can use my eyes as a little bit of a backup to make sure that it looks sharp. And here's the thing, because we're so magnified on a certain area of our image, even if we're a tiny little bit off focus, as long as it looks all right with our eyes, as long as it looks in focus, it's going to be fine, it's going to be sharp. And again, I really would like to think that my images are testament to that. So that's exactly what I've done here. And I mean, in terms of focal points, I've got this beautiful fence here that's leading out into Morecambe Bay. And because this stretches across the whole composition, I can't really say that I just focus on the most prominent subject, because this is throughout the whole frame. So in this case, I focused 1/3 of the way into the image, and I'm shooting at f11. We've got Barrow and Furnace off in the background. We've got some beautiful stormy skies, and I'm hoping to get a 2 or 3 minute long exposure, capture all the movement in the water and in the clouds, and get something really fine arty. And of course, that's a very long exposure. So yeah, I'd urge you to give that, focusing technique a go. It works really well for me. I hope you like this shot. you at. So I've had to act quickly here. You can probably see right off in the distance where we're at here now. Move my head out of the way. Is it over there somewhere? Remnants of a little bit of a rainbow. What was a hugely vibrant rainbow actually, I'm telling a lie. It was stunning. And yeah, fortunately I was just about getting set up anyway to take what was going to be quite an abstract photograph across Morecambe Bay looking back towards the Lake District. But then, as luck has it, I suppose, this beautifully vibrant, like I said, rainbow just appeared across the bay, and honestly it was stunning. And I've taken 2 or 3 images of it, a couple portrait, a couple landscape, 1 or 2 long exposures say, and it's one of them where I just wanted to get as many as I could whilst it was there, and I'll choose my favourite when I get home, you know, when I get them back in Lightroom. Now, approach number 2 to getting beautiful image quality when you're out on location. This one is definitely the easiest one of the 3. However, on my one-to-one workshops, it's something that I see people neglecting, let's say, and it's simply just using the 2-second timer on your camera. And what that means is, you know, like as if you were going to take a selfie. You know, sometimes when people set the phones up and they put the 10-second timer on the phone, then they leg it in front, hey, that sort of thing. Now, as landscape photographers, basically if you're using a tripod, if you're not using some sort of self-timer that's inbuilt to your camera, you might as well not be using a tripod. And what it is if you have got the camera on the top of your tripod and you take the shot, as you press that shutter button, you may not realise it, but you're actually shaking the camera, and it's actually accentuated even more so when you're using a telephoto lens. You know, a longer focal length means you're going to get more camera shake. So actually, in this case, I should probably have used a 5-second timer. When I go out, sometimes by myself, I won't take my big Manfrotto tripod. I'll take my small, like travel tripod here that I'll show you on the screen now, which is a good tripod, but it's quite flimsy. It's quite light in comparison to this Manfrotto one. And yeah, I'll always use a 5-second timer, and it's just a case of hitting the shutter button and then taking your hands off your camera, take a step backwards and just give everything a chance to settle down, because you'll see that it shakes a little bit. I'll show you a bit of B-roll now. When you're really zoomed in with the telephoto lens, there's a lot of shake going on. And yeah, using that approach, doing that process every single time, take your hands off, 1, 2, 3, however long you've got that self-timer on for. What's that noise? Something on the lighthouse. However long you got that timer on for, just allows your camera and your tripod to stop shaking, and it increases your chances of getting a nice sharp photograph. So yeah, this image, I won't bother telling you the settings or anything, because like I said, it was all various different shots. Some were quick shutter speeds, some were about 25 seconds with the 15 stop on, but I think one of them is going to be pretty decent. Oh my goodness, so we just had a mental rain shower. Honestly, the winds picked up, it just started kicking off, and now you can see it's too bright. This is madness. I'll show you a bit of B-roll now of me trying to talk to the camera. I couldn't even talk. I was dropping my filters, stuff was flying everywhere. Madness, but it's calmed down a bit now. I think it's moved back over that way down towards Fleetwood or something. So, one more shot. You can see here we've got this beautiful old broken jetty. I wanted to photograph this for ages in this manner, you know, long exposure, fine art, and minimalist, not much in the frame except from the jetty. We've got nice clouds for it today and quite nice light as well. Now I've got my 15 stop filter on the front. Again, I'm going for about a 2-minute exposure, and this brings me on to, I was going to say approach number 3, but this is more of a precaution rather than a practical approach. And it's all about filters, you know, whether it's ND filters, ND grads, polarizers, even UV filters. And it's this: don't buy really cheap filters, all right? Now, before we get into this a little bit more, what I don't mean is go out and spend hundreds of thousands and thousands of pounds on filters and brands and all that. I use Nissi filters, all right? I absolutely love Nissi filters. I'm proud to use them. I will continue to use them, you know, and I'll always endorse them to people that can afford to buy them. They're really fantastic filters. You know, they don't mess up your image quality. But I'm not saying go out and buy loads of Nissi or Lee filters or any of these brands that are really expensive. All I'm saying is don't buy the really, really cheap ones. And this is just from my experience. I'm warning you. You know, there's some on Amazon that are like a tenner, right? Some of them might be all right, but from my experience, I've used a certain brand, which I'm not going to say because I think it's disrespectful, and it just ruined my image quality. And it just made me think, I have to mention this in this video, because you could have a Nikon D850, you could have a 24-70 f2.8 lens on the front, you know, thousands of pounds worth of wonderful professional camera gear, and then you stick a £10 UV filter on the front. It's just going to mess up your image quality, you know, or from my experience it has done. And you've got to think the light's coming in to your camera in through the front, so that first point of contact is going to be the filter, right? So there's no use having loads of expensive gear and then a cheap filter on the front. And yeah, I went out one day, I did loads of long exposures with these certain filters, and I got home and all the images were blurry, but I'd used the same approaches to focus like I showed you today. So I knew it was the filters. I went out with them again just to double check. And yeah, I guess I wanted to warn you, and like I said, don't be spending loads of money on them if you can't afford it. All I mean is, like, you get ones on Amazon for a tenner, maybe look at spending 25 or 30 quid if you can afford it, you know, because you'll really notice the difference. And you know, I think a lot of people might think they've got a problem with the lens or the camera or something that they're doing, when really they're just using rubbish filters that's making their images blurry. So just be careful with that one. You know, if you're unsure about your filters, take some shots with the filters and without them and compare the results and see if your filters are messing up your image quality. So that's that. Oh, I need to stop this long exposure. And then I'll leave you there, I think. That's overexposed. I need to take that one again. Hang on. Yeah, that one was really overexposed. I'm taking it again anyway, and I'll leave you with this image. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you're new, please subscribe. I always laugh at these bits at the end because I don't really know what to say. And yeah, subscribe if you're new, if you enjoy this content. Please give the video a like, of course. You guys that follow me regularly, you know how much that helps out my channel. Such an easy thing for you to do if you have a quick second. And yeah, cheers for watching, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Out!